Your highway on your soul. May maraming problema. Working so hard all the time. Buhay America. But don't never believe you're alone. There's a family at home. Waiting to share those moments that we call the good old days. To remember.
Hungry for the good times, food and family. Island Pacific unites communities. Wag matakot magbigay, giving is for free. We are the same kapwa, I see you and me.
Oh, Island Pacific is here for you. In the spirit of bayanihan. Ooh. Far apart but together as one. Malakas ang loob. So don't you worry, kaya ng Pilipino ito. Though divided, united, malusog at excited.
Tara na sa Island Pacific, a place for you and me, a place for family. Hungry for the good times, food and family. Island Pacific unites communities. Wag matakot magbigay, giving is for free.
Spirit of bayanihan. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
When I'm losing my grip and all of these seconds are feeling like minutes, no chance that I slip, cause all of my copper with me and they in it. So put a fist up, isang bagsak, you know that's the spirit. We never give up, lakas ka loob, come on and let's get it. The spirit of bayanihan, pamilya at kaibigan. Pagdating sa pamayanan, walang ibang usapan. Sumikap lang at tandaan, sa sambayanan kaya mo yan, lahat sa puso panindigan. Intindihan, abante lang, proud of where we from. With that native tongue, through my lungs, 3 stars in the sun, and we run it to the beat of the drum. This is for Panay's island women rise. In my eyes, we were born to rise, cause we carry and we hold the sky. Rule of thumb, get it done. If we're one, then we won. One by one, overcome. This is home, everyone. So we sung, friends in the family. I only eat if my people is with me. Kapwa Filipino, we can make it here, we can make it anywhere if we got community.
Hungry for the good time, food and family.
Island Pacific unites communities. Wag matakot magbigay. Giving is for free. We are the same kapwa, I see you and me.
Oh, Island Pacific is here for you, in the spirit of bayanihan.
SoCal Filipinos presents, in partnership with Island Pacific, presents a cooking demo with Kissa Ortega from Ninong's Dessert Lab. Please welcome your host, Mary Grant.
Hey everybody, what's up, what's up? Happy Saturday, happy day 2 of Filipino American History Month. Don't get it twisted. I just want to welcome everybody for joining us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It is me, Mary Grant, also known as Mary Grant the Filipina, and I am here in Jason Listina's beautiful kitchen. Thank you so much, Jason, for letting me use your kitchen. Welcome today. We're going to do a cooking demo sponsored by Island Pacific with all of our beautiful ingredients that we're going to use today. And I am cooking along with Kissa from Ninong's. Kissa, welcome.
Hey Mary, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, long time no see, girl. I've been good.
Good. Yes, I can't even remember when's the last time I saw you.
I think I was pregnant with Micah still,
Oh man, that's a lot.
and now he's a year and a half. So
Wow.
it's been at least that long, which is too long.
Yes. Well, congrats on the new beautiful bubbly baby boy. I hope we get to see him at some point.
I was hoping that he could stay up for it, but it's his nap time. So we'll see if he wakes up. Who knows?
Oh.
But Charlie's on the other side of the camera. He says hi.
Hey.
Congrats. So, tell me about our dish today.
So today I'm going to make a take on champorado. Have you made or had champorado before?
Okay, I am the worst. I have not actually had, like, I'm gonna go with real champorado. Like, I went to a turo maybe like somewhere in the valley, and it was like a vat, it was like, I don't know how, it was the end of like the breakfast brunch, and it wasn't too fresh because clearly it was good because everybody had scraped it. So I was like, oh, let me try it. So that was probably not a good first time try. And then, they have like the ramen noodle cups. Well, now they have like the champorado cups. So that's like the fakest version ever. So real champorado I have not had. So I'm very excited to actually cook it and make it and try it today.
Awesome. I love it. So I'm making a take on champorado. I used to eat it all the time growing up. It was one of those just staples at my house when we would do Saturday and Sunday breakfast and stuff like that. And so it's very nostalgic for me. And at the cafe, when we had the cafe, we actually kind of did our own take, which is what I'm gonna cook today. And we would do it with oatmeal instead of rice. So it was like that good, it's like a little alternative to rice because for one, rice takes forever to cook and get it to that consistency that you want. And if you're on the go, if you want to have, something nostalgic, but you don't have the time, you can use like quick oats, you can use, and it cooks a lot faster. So that's what I'm going to make today. And I think that it's kind of that, if you're trying to look for something that's more whole grain, this is a really good alternative. So
yeah, awesome. Especially now, I think the pandemic, made us stay at home, and we got to, we have so many like cooking people now that never cooked before. And I think also we're trying to be a little bit more healthy. Not saying Filipino food isn't healthy, but if we can make conscious choices to add the grains, I think that's fantastic. And I'm really excited. And I heard you say that this is your take on it. On Ninong's, you guys had the restaurant, you did like the ube pancakes with the ube syrup, which is a twist on traditional stuff. My question to know, I'm always intrigued when it comes to traditional Filipino food and then like a take on it. How was that received when you put your spin on it?
Well, when we first started, I think the buzzword fusion was like really popular at the time. And then, as time went on, people were like, fusion, it's what about the traditional stuff? Let's highlight the traditional dishes and things like that. And I think that with Ninong's, it was always just an approach of what we ate as a family versus trying to label it as either fusion or traditional Filipino or whatever it was. And that was always just our focus. And I think the other thing that kind of set us apart was, even though I didn't grow up in the Philippines or I wasn't born in the Philippines, there's always a balance when it came to flavors because my aunts were working with us. And whenever we were developing menu items or just trying to improve on current products that we have, we always give them a taste, and they always say whether it's too far off the rails, it's not Filipino enough, the flavors aren't, you know, it's not coming through. And so we always want to dial it back. And so having that balance of like my titas that like reel us back in, but also that forward thinking of like, how can we still push the cuisine forward, but not dumb it down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, especially, you know, we are Philam, you know, like you, I didn't grow up in the Philippines. Well, I lived there from like 2 to 6, but you know, most of my life, you know, is American, but I still have that Filipino flavor. And I love that we are taking our traditional foods and not necessarily changing it, but putting our own, you know, flavor on it. You know, if you like it, great. If not, there's other places you can try, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I guess enough of me talking. We'll talk while it's cooking.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Okay, so we need to get some water boiling. So if you want to take 1 cup of water and put it into a pot and get it boiling, that's where we're going to start. I got this. Thank you to Island Pacific, by the way, for this. But this is tablea. So we used to serve tablea at the cafe. And if you're a dark chocolate lover, you're going to love this. I'm not sure, Mary, if you're a dark chocolate lover. I am not too much into dark chocolate. I'm more of the milk chocolate kind of girl, but tablea, because it just reminds me of my childhood, I love.
Similar. I'm not a huge fan of dark chocolate. Like I can't eat a dark chocolate candy bar, but I do like the flavor, you know, as a syrup, or I'm excited to try it in here. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way. So when we get cooking, we can kind of sweeten it up a little bit, because dark chocolate is bitter, which is the reason why I don't really like it too much. But okay, so if you want to open up this this package, drop maybe, let's say 4 of these tablea caplet things into your pot, and just kind of let the water boil. I kind of cheated and I started boiling water in my kettle, so we can like talk while your water is boiling.
Oh, I see. It is like tablets. It reminds me of like a fat Miko wafer.
Yes, yeah. So this is basically cacao beans, which is like practically your purest form of chocolate.
Oh, wow.
And so they kind of grind it up and then they pack it into these tablets, like really tight. And so what we're going to try and do now is dilute it with the water to get it mixing.
Okay.
So
it's probably not a good idea, like, leave it out and for kids to be like, oh, let me take a bite of this.
I mean, they could, but they're not going to like the way it tastes. And the texture is actually very gritty.
Oh.
So it's not smooth like your typical dark chocolate, or, you know, just chocolate in general. Because like I said, this is the purest form. It's the beans. So that's why it gives you that gritty texture. Sorry, I'm turning on my stove here. Come on.
And it's okay, I put the tablets in while the water's starting to boil.
Yep. And we can just mix it around as it's, oh, come on. We can mix it around as your water gets boiling. There we go. Okay, sorry for the noise. So, so you might not necessarily use all of this, but usually what you'll do is you'll get the water hot, you'll put tablets in, and then will use part of it for the oats. So I personally am going to use the whole thing. I'm going to let the water boil and then I'm going to dump the oats in. But if you wanted to, you could just prepare tablea and then boil it with water, let it cool, and then keep it in your fridge. And then that way, if you want to, you know, add a scoop of it, for example, into a latte or your coffee in the morning, you can do that.
Okay, so this is like the flavor base.
Exactly.
Okay. Right now, it is not sweet.
It's not at all sweet. Yeah. A bit high. Oh, there we go. That's better. Yeah. So traditionally, like you know, it would normally be rice, but when you're making a porridge like this, I mean, technically it's a porridge, right? When you're making a riscaldo or something that's like rice porridge based, it takes a really long time for that rice to become glutinous, and you kind of have to add depending on how you cook the rice to get it to that kind of pudding consistency.
Oh, yeah, true. I've tried to make it. I'm like, I'm gonna make a riscaldo, and it was yeah, it was like I could feel the individual rice pieces in my mouth. And then I was like, oh, let me just put it in the blender. And then that was like, that was way worse.
Yeah. So that's why I actually like to use oatmeal as an alternative, because it's faster and it's not going to take a while for the rice to kind of break down and become more glutinous. Especially if you're in a rush, there's quick oats, right? Where you can just kind of do it, like throw it in the microwave with some water. You can definitely do that with this. If you had the tablea in your fridge prepped, you could scoop a little bit of this and then put a little bit of water and oatmeal into the microwave like you would with like a cinnamon apple, you know, oatmeal, but make it tablea instead. And then you have instant champorado without buying the, you know, the instant ones in the cup. It's a little more homemade, which is good.
I have a question. So my water is boiling and the tablea is all dissolved and it's getting kind of thick. Should I turn the heat down or is that okay?
You can turn the heat down. If it looks pasty, I would add a little bit more water.
Okay.
Because we want to have enough water for the oats. So
pasty. What is pasty? Pasty.
Pasty. Think condensed milk consistency or thicker.
Ooh, so you're saying I'm gonna need water then? Okay.
Yes. You want it to be more milky, like regular milk consistency.
Okay.
Okay. Mine is kind of getting a little bit thick too, so I'm gonna add another cup of water.
Now I see chocolate milk again. Can you guys hear me okay when I'm back here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so I'm gonna just let this come up to a boil again. I think we talked too much. That's probably why all the water evaporated.
We talk. We're Filipina.
I know, right? Okay, so while we're waiting to get the water boiling, I usually add 1 cup of oatmeal once the water's boiling.
Okay.
So we're just gonna kind of wait for that. And then traditionally, right, like once this is done, you would add to your taste, depending on how much sugar and milk you want, to get it to taste more like quote unquote milk chocolate, right? Because milk chocolate is basically sugar and milk added. So you can kind of add, I always like to say, add like a teaspoon at a time, mix it, because everyone's taste buds are a little bit different. So if I put 1 tablespoon of sugar, that might be too sweet for some, that might be not sweet enough for others. So I always say, just add a little at a time. And then keep tasting until you get it the way that you like it.
Okay. And you've already put your oats in.
I have not, because my water is not yet boiling.
Okay. So mine is. So I'm gonna
Okay.
in there.
Yep, go for it.
Okay. And am I keeping the heat the same?
I would put it on like medium low.
Okay. Dang, this looks like it looks like a bowl of Cocoa Puffs or Cocoa cereal.
Yeah, right. I think that's why I loved it growing up, because I was like, oh, breakfast with chocolate. I'm into it. I like it. So that I think that's why. And then when I first tasted it completely plain, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. This is not good. And my mom was like, no, just add some sugar, add some milk, and you'll be fine. So once we did that, I was like, oh, I have unlocked the secret to champorado. Oh man, there you go. Yes.
Or Cocoa Puffs? Not Cocoa Puffs. Like the chocolate
Cocoa
rice.
Pebbles.
Yes. Pebbles. It smells so freaking chocolatey.
Right? It smells really good. One of our most popular items when we had the cafe, one of our most popular drink items was our tablea latte.
Ooh.
Because people, even non-Filipinos, they would ask what it is, and when I explained to them, it's like pure cacao. And I said, if you like dark chocolate, think of it like a dark chocolate latte. Oh man, people would go crazy over it. I'm boiling over.
Should I? Am I supposed to be putting in sugar now?
No, we're gonna put it at the end.
Okay.
So we're just gonna keep cooking this until the oats are cooked,
Okay.
and it'll only be a couple minutes. But
Really...
you'll know, like, just feel free to like grab your spoon and kind of taste it and see if it's at the consistency that you like. Some like their oatmeal more watery. Some like their oatmeal thicker. So just depending on what you like. I like my oatmeal like in the middle, not too watery, not too thick.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like a paste.
Yeah, and I like it where, like you said, it's not too watery, but if I get a spoon, it's not just like liquid. Like I gotta get some.
Exactly. I'm just gonna do that. And that was a smart move. I saw you add some water. So
yeah.
That won't affect anything. Just keep adding water to cook the oatmeal if you need to.
Okay.
And then you'll just notice that the consistency is going to just get thicker, right, because of the oatmeal. Okay. I wish I could show you. Let's see if I can do this. Kind of, that's where I'm at.
Oh, I put a lot more.
So it's getting thicker, but mine is still super watery. So I'm going to let it keep reducing. But all the sugar and all that stuff, I'm going to put at the end.
Okay, let's see if we can show mine. Mine is like this.
Okay.
You think I need water or it's okay? It's kind of thick.
Yeah, it's kind of good. Taste the oatmeal. See if it's like chewy already. Because if it is, then that's ready. If it's still kind of hard, you want to add a little bit more water and let it cook on low.
Oh, that's hard.
Okay. More water. So maybe try 2 cups of water.
Okay. Wow, that is really chocolatey.
Right?
But it's not like, I guess it is dark chocolate, but I guess to me, dark chocolate is like more bitter. It wasn't as bitter. I was thinking it was going to be a lot more bitter, but it wasn't. It was okay. It was chocolatey.
Let me taste it because I wonder. Yeah, this one has sugar added to it already, which is nice. So that kind of balances the bitterness to it. But if you buy the pure tablea, which I don't know if there's any here in the in our area at least, because I purchased the one that didn't say with added sugar, but when we imported it from the Philippines back in the day, it was like pure nothing. Because I think nowadays you can go to a store and buy like 90% dark chocolate or something like that. But this is basically like 100% dark chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, this one now it does say and sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Pure chocolate.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah,
So,
I don't even know if I'll add sugar because I don't.
I was gonna say the same thing. For me, that sugar level is actually perfect. I actually like that. So, okay. While our oatmeal is finishing up, let's open up these cans because all the cans that we got is topping. It's actually like drizzled because I saw them at the market and I was like, oh man, these are cool. The ube condensed milk.
Oh
This
yeah.
this is new, right? Like it was a pandemic thing, and I was like, oh man. And I gotta say, I'm a nerd for packaging. I just love Island Pacific's packaging. It's so pretty.
Yeah, I love it too. No, I saw the first one I was able to get my hands on is the mango,
How is
and
it?
dunked my spoon in there. I made like this pineapple mango like poke cake, and I was really surprised and impressed how much flavor was in the condensed milk. I was expecting to be like really subtle, but it was fantastic. Yeah, the pack, it's super cute. Like go Island Pacific.
I know, right? Like it's been a while because since I've walked in, because you know how they have the app and you can do like curbside pickup. I don't know if you could still do curbside pickup now. So I never really go in, but since I went in today, I was like, ooh, there's so many new things, and that's always awesome. And I got this one too because people sleep on Buko Pandan, but it's like one of my favorite flavors ever.
It is too, but it's hard to explain. Like when you talk to people that don't know what it is,
Yeah.
it's like, and then they see a picture, they'll Google it, and it's like kind of like this wolf market thing in Vegas that you can't explain it unless you've been there. Like the same thing, I don't know how to explain it or like even describe the flavor. How would you describe that?
I have kind of defaulted to it's like the vanilla of the Philippines. It has this like nutty, subtle, really elegant flavor. That's how I kind of explain it, but it's exactly what you say. It's hard to really explain. So most of the time I'm like, I'm butchering the explanation because there's nothing that really tastes like it. You just have to be brave and try it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, it looks like my oatmeal is almost done. It's probably just like a couple more minutes.
Oh my gosh. And this is like so luxurious and
oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna open mine. Let's see here. Ube. So let's do both. Now, Mary, another question for you. Have you tried tuyo? Do you like tuyo?
Do you like what?
Do you like tuyo? Have you tried it?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Okay, I did when I lived in the Philippines. You know, I never wore clothes. I only wore my underwear. I never wore shoes until I moved to the United States. And my dad was like, "You can't be running around the U.S. You can't be running around like that." So in the Philippines, I ate tuyo like there's no tomorrow. Like it was potato chips, you know, and it's so maybe because I like to think maybe because I ate it as a kid. Like now, it's hard, and it's hard. It's very pungent. That's so fascinating to me. I've never heard in my life that tuyo and champorado is a thing, And it's like people are like, how do you not know that? Like that it's like peanut butter and jelly, like
Yes.
fish and chocolate, duh. And I'm like, what? It's crazy.
So I think
We have this
I
too.
was just, you know, when you're a kid and, you know, you're someone serving you food, most of the time, if you have no idea, you just kind of eat it. Like you don't really think twice about it. And I think I was that kind of kid where my mom would put something in front of me and I would just go, okay, let's eat it. Most of the time, I just kind of accepted that this is how you eat something. And champorado was definitely with tuyo was definitely one of those dishes
Yeah.
where like I didn't question it.
Yeah.
And if I had eaten it later in my life, I probably wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But because I grew up with it, it's like you said, it's just one of those, it goes together. I can't eat champorado without tuyo.
Wow.
And I think my love for the sweet and salty combination came from this dish specifically.
Yeah. I mean, and there's such like the fish is it's like not just regular fish, it's like super salt, dried in salt. And then you have the dark chocolate with the bitter, you know, so there's such opposing flavors that it makes sense that it would happen. Unfortunately, I wish I had more of that childlike palate where you just like, okay, cool, accept that. And I'm really trying hard in my adult life. But, you know, I think also growing up in Virginia, it traumatized me. And you know, there were no other Filipinos around, and you know, the people were like, Mary's house. My mom totally made like fried fish, and you know, like it traumatized me.
Oh yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. And I understand. Oh man, I think a lot of us that went to school here can relate to that, right? Because when you're growing up and all you see is just ham sandwiches, which there's nothing wrong with ham sandwiches. I had ham sandwiches also growing up and I would have that for lunch too. But then you'd also have the hot dog and rice lunch that you'd bring to school, or you would have like Filipino spaghetti, or like you said, fried fish, and your friends would come over and it's an unfamiliar smell.
Yeah.
There tends to be a sense of shame, and I struggled with that a lot. And I had no idea that I had something to even struggle. Like it was something that was bothering me. I had no idea until I was an adult and realized, oh, this is like its own trauma in its own sense, because you're being teased about something and you're trying to assimilate to something else when there's absolutely nothing wrong with what you're eating, what you're doing, how you're growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have like mad props, like mad respect for the newer generation too, that they don't maybe not had it as much as we did, you know, like now, I mean, now it's cool. Like if you're swirly something, if you got some flavor, like it's cool if you're different. And you know, these kids growing up, like I have a cousin, he's 1/16 Filipino, blonde hair, blue eyes, freckles. Like you would never think that he's got some Filipino in him, but he has the most Filipino palate. Like he can, and like he thrives on eating like dinuguan and sinigang. Like now the younger generation, they're like repping so hard, and their palettes are so much more broad and it's accepting, and I love it. And I try and be more like them. So
Yeah. It's I'm really happy to see that like more younger, like, you know, younger kids and teens and all that, they're living and growing up in this foodie era, which just makes me so happy, because we didn't grow up in a time like that. And it's an awesome time to be a person of color and be able to share, because more people are open to it. You know, there with Filipino food, I remember my mom would always bring something to her office potlucks, and it always had to be, your typical pancit, adobo, lumpias, right? And don't get me wrong, I love me a good pancit. I love me a good adobo and lumpia, but there's so much more to our cuisine than that. And it's a great entryway into trying. But now I feel like you said, kids are eating dinuguan, and I didn't even start eating that until I was in my like late 20s.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to give it a chance because I was too afraid.
Yeah, totally. I totally hear you.
Okay.
Now, has he tried the champorado and tuyo? Like, do you guys let him eat that yet?
He will today. Let's just say that. Because I actually haven't made this since we closed the restaurant. So this is kind of exciting. So this is what mine's looking like right now.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us.
Not a problem. I'm so excited and happy to be here with you guys. Ooh, yes.
It's chunky.
Yes.
Washing my face.
And it smells really good. Okay, so toppings. When I was growing up, just sugar and evaporated milk was the way to go. And then I would top the champorado with tuyo and have like a little bit of tuyo with every bite. That's how I would eat it. But when we were at the restaurant, we kind of changed it up a little bit. We still put evaporated milk because that's my favorite kind of milk. So we would do that to kind of make it more rich. And some people add this when they're cooking, but sometimes milk will curdle or whatever it is. So I like to add it at the end. So evaporated milk to your liking. Okay. And then at the restaurant, we would add condensed milk and we didn't serve tuyo at the restaurant because it's controversial. Tuyo is so controversial. It's so funny. But so what we would do is we would serve it with a salted caramel instead. So if you're not a tuyo person, but you like that salty sweet, you can either maybe do some condensed milk and then add like fleur de sel, those like sea salt flakes. You can add that to it to get that little salty sweet balance. But if you're down for the cause, I can't recommend tuyo enough.
What about if you like maybe do ground spam or like fried spam, like because it's salty.
Interesting.
A luscious fatty flavor too.
Yeah, interesting. Or even like bacon. That would be interesting.
I'm your bacon girl.
Yeah, right. That sounds really interesting. That's gonna be on my list to kind of experiment with and try.
Ooh, chocolate and bacon. I mean, they have bacon dipped chocolate.
Yeah. They have like, candied bacon. They have like, I've seen like chocolate covered also, like you said. So anything like that would be good. So I'm just punching 2 little holes into my evaporated milk so that I can pour some in here. So I'm just going to like drizzle it and eyeball it.
And this is in your big pot, or do you put it in a bowl already?
I put it in a bowl.
You
could transfer.
Water. Let me mix it.
And then I'm gonna open up both the ube condensed milk and the Buko Pandan condensed milk, and I'm gonna put that on top.
Wait, what just happened?
What happened?
Some brown baked pans are coming out.
Oh, yeah. Jason's gonna put you to work. Girl.
I don't know about.
Come on. Why are you not working with me here? Why? Can you help me? Won't open.
One of the can openers that you open from the other side.
Oh, well, I did it on this one and it worked fine.
Idea. Okay, so I have mine.
Yes.
In a bowl.
Perfect. Now, you can open up your evaporated milk.
Okay.
This one. And just kind of eyeball it, how much you would like.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Do I just stick it on there?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
smells good, huh?
Mhm.
We
You can make
opened it,
flan, like
yeah.
just straight up flavored flan with
Mhm.
that topping.
Smells so good.
Milk.
A little bit more, or are you good?
I put a little bit more.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Add as much as you want. And that's the best part about this. That's I always say, like, just add a little, mix, taste, and then if you need more, add a little more, mix, taste. Because you can't take an ingredient out, but you can always add more.
Right. Oh, I see it as it's like doing the creamy. So some people cook it on the stove with the evaporated milk.
Yeah.
No, I like the controlling
Mm-hmm.
flavor and the consistency. Because me, I just dump it in. I'm like, oops, I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of the Buko Pandan condensed milk. I opened up the can, and right when you open it up, I smelled it immediately. It smells so good. Like the quality, I'm really impressed with the quality of the condensed milk. It smells really good.
It was gonna be a dark green.
Yeah, it's a nice, it's not that typical electric green that you see. It's like a nice subtle.
It's like mashed avocados.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put like a tablespoon of Buko Pandan, and then I'm gonna put God knows how much of ube, because you know me and ube.
Okay.
And ooh, the ube one smells really good too.
Yeah, I
And
tasted
the
it.
color is like gorgeous.
Cool. So we're gonna drizzle.
Yes. Okay.
Let's try this. Oh man, that's bomb.
Oh man, it's so good. Let me try. I'm gonna try it like pure. Oh wow.
Woo.
That is good. Ooh. Okay.
I feel like it's definitely improved. You know, like when the products come out, it takes a little while to get feedback and adjust. I will say,
Yeah.
I did try it in the beginning when it first came out, and it was a different consistency. I think it was a little bit more solidified. But I can definitely tell that you know, whatever feedback they got, they went back in and improved it, and it's definitely amazing. So
Yeah. The consistency, like you said, it's still condensed milk, like where it still pours out. It's a little bit runny, but not too runny, but it's also not like cake batter either. It's like a good mix. Okay. And then the pied de résistance. Yes, you do, girl. So I fried the tuyo, or Charlie fried the tuyo in our backyard last night.
Dirty kitchen.
Because it smells like
very strong.
I feel so bad for our neighbors, but you know, it's just so good.
No, by now.
I can't have champorado without tuyo. Like it's just not a possibility for me.
So you bought the fish and you salted it yourself, or you bought it already salted?
It's already salted. It's in the refrigerated like fish area of the supermarket. So they have smoked, they have like just this plain salted, they have different kinds of fish. They have dried that are like more that are like cut and butterflied so that it'll be like a crunchy thing. So
that's the tuyo that I know of, and it's like smaller, a lot smaller. So is tuyo a certain type of fish, or it's just salted fish?
Well, I mean, I grew up here, so my interpretation of it is as long as it's sun dried, I personally will just buy it. It doesn't matter. But I'm sure there's like a certain criteria that makes it tuyo or something else, because there's different kinds of salted dry fish. There's tuyo. There's also what is it called? Danggit. There's also
Dilis?
dilis. So there's different ones. I think the dilis are the small ones, like the small fish.
Dilis. Yeah, we just eat them like that.
Yes. When I was in the Philippines, because my dad lives in the Philippines now, when we went to go visit him, all I wanted was danggit and garlic rice and fried eggs. That's all I wanted. And so whenever I'm there, I capitalize on it because there's not as much. There's a huge selection of like salted, dried fish and seafood in the Philippines, obviously, and we don't have as much variety here. They even have like squid and stuff like that. Oh, it's my favorite. It's like the best.
So Island Pacific, you can just go. It's in the freezer section, and you can pick smoked. This one already came. The one you guys have already came salted and sun-dried.
It's salted, and then you do need to fry this one. So you do need to cook it.
And there's no batter. You just fry
Yes.
it.
Yeah. You can deep fry it. You can fry it in a wok. You can fry it in a pan, whatever is easy. And then you just hold it. You know, you can put it in a Tupperware, and then I just put it in the fridge. And then I'll grab one whenever I feel like having it with some garlic rice and egg, you know.
Nice. Now, just really quick story. When we moved to the States, you know, we landed right outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. And there's not a single Filipino. I mean, we would drive to Virginia Beach, which was 3 hours away. And it was like the Oriental store. And which is funny, my mom still calls it to this day. I'm like, whatever. But we, you know, instead of going to the Filipino store once every 6 months or whatever, my mom was really, really craving tuyo. So my dad took her to this like bait and tackle shop. And like she was excited because she found they had minnows. And like in the United States, it's used as bait. And she like, I'll take it all. And the guy was like, oh, you guys going fishing or what are you guys doing? And she was like, no, I eat this. And he was so like distressed, like he couldn't believe it that he like gave my mom all of it for like half price. Cause he was just like, this woman must be so poor that she's coming in to buy bait to eat. Like here, like, please have it. And, you know, my mom, she like soaked it and, you know, put it out on the porch and dried it. And she was so happy. So that's another memory I have is like, oh, so tuyo, is that like bait? You know, I asked, like, is it anchovies or minnows? Like, is it a certain fish? But I think you're saying as long as it's dried and salted, it's like tuyo, right?
That would be my interpretation. People can clarify if they want, but yeah, we wouldn't have the same kind of fish that we would put. It was just kind of what we would have at the time. And so there could be like the small ones, the dilis, we would throw that into champorado. Or you know, you can put whatever you like, just to give it that salty flavor. So I'm gonna take one. I was kind of sad because they were headless.
They have bones in it, or you eat bones?
These are fried enough where you can eat the bones. Just be careful. And then there's other ones that you really have to like take off of the bone depending on which one it is. But I just kind of like throw it in there, and then I use my spoon to like chop it up.
I'm gonna do a different version of that. This is the vegan version of tuyo, which is banana. So we have some of these banana thins from Island Pacific. They're crunchy, you know, so it's like crunching on some tuyo. So,
ooh, and we got some ube chips too because I think it's, you know, with
I think I have
something that, because I'm not a traditional trained chef, right? So I had some mentors as we were kind of growing in the food business, and a big thing that they would always tell me is like texture is a big thing, right? It's And so these ube chips would be like perfect to put on top to give, yes, just like crunch it up and put it on top to give it that different texture that, you know, a crunchy tuyo fish would do.
And it's salty, so
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I never thought about that.
I'm gonna put some in mine too. Love it. Yum.
I'm gonna try it without it first.
Oh yeah, it does have that salty sweet thing. See that I love
Very crunchy
that,
too.
that flavor. Yeah, I love that flavor profile when it's not always just sweet or just salty. When it has a little bit of both, so good.
It's really good. Like,
And once again, the packaging. I'm nerding over the packaging. It's so pretty.
yes.
Way to up the packaging game.
I'm gonna try them together.
Okay.
Mmm.
So what do you think?
There's another earthquake. So good. I think I need some more ube chips. Also, too, I like the difference of the porridge because it's like creamy, you know, mushy. The oats are like not hard whatsoever. But then with the, like you said, you like to do a little tuyo bite. You know, the crispy bite with each spoonful. I like that too because it keeps you guessing.
Yeah. What I used to do as a kid, I would do this even with regular cereal, is I would have my bowl and then I would just keep adding like the crunchy aspect so that if you're mixing it, it doesn't get soggy eventually and just disappears. So yeah, I would just keep adding the crunchy element so that it stays crunchy in my bowl. But oh yes, that is exactly my childhood. So good.
So good. I feel like my lips are purple.
Hi, Jason.
Hello. Can you? Am I on? Am I on?
I do not see you.
I see you.
Oh, okay.
Well, you guys are making me. You ladies, excuse me, are making me hungry.
Can you hear him?
Can you hear me?
Am I the one
Yeah,
that's off now?
Mary, you can't hear him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's so weird.
No, it says loading.
Oh,
I can hear you.
but can you see me?
I can see you.
Mary Cat, and she's in the other room. She's in my kitchen. I'm in my office.
I can hear you through the walls if you want to keep talking.
But thank you, Kissa. Thank you, Mary. I'm gonna.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much for helping us kick off Filipino American History Month with this cooking demo.
It's a perfect way to just just start off the month, especially for me. It's so much fun to do this stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like running. Once we finish, I'm going to the kitchen, and Mary, you better prepare me a bowl of the champorado. But I know she can't hear. She's trying to listen to me through the wall. But I just want to say thank you again, Kissa. Thank you, Mary. Thank you to Island Pacific to always partnering with us on these cooking demos. We do have a lot more events planned out for Filipino American History Month. Tuesday, we have a live panel with Dr. Joyce Javier on the Family Health Initiative. On Thursday, we will be talking to Anthea about her movie that's coming up. And then on the 10th, we also have, we'll be talking about Filipino mythology with Tita Oz, who is based in the Philippines. So we're going to hear more about that. And then on the 9th, we have a live market, Tindahan at Pistahan on Reseda Boulevard. So join us from 1 to 5, where we have 25 vendors, different Filipino items, and there's gonna be a lot of Filipino food that you could buy. So join us. And also, lastly, I know this is a lot of announcements. If you'd like a Filipino American History Month photo that you see that's posted in our group, just go ahead and email us at scalfilipinos@gmail.com. All right. Thank you again, Kissa. Thank you again, Mary.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
have a good afternoon and happy Filipino American History Month again. See you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.